this idea of, the animal kingdom. Why aren't you preying on them? Why aren't you preying on other people to do your something? To take their money? Why hurting you? Where does that come from?
I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying I can't do it. Because I can't. I can't. Because there's no need.
I think if I adopted this philosophy of living for these purposes, I would consider doing it.
No.
I would. Why?
That's you. You're a different person.
Allah. Just want to explore this a bit further. You see, there are lots of people, hundreds and thousands of people, who are vegetarian. You know what vegetarian is, yeah?
Yes,
right.
This is
now,
one of the things you
this
reminded me
is a choice people have taken. You can't take that choice away from them, right?
Yes.
Good, no problem. But if somebody says, look, I have teeth designed to chew meat, and I have enzymes in my stomach designed to digest proteins from meat, a vegetarian cannot argue with you saying, no, it's too harmful, you're actually harming another animal, you're taking another life away. Right?
That's why they can't talk to me. They have the right to tell me what
No, when you say right, I'm saying it is
I have
not.
the right to tell them no.
No, what I'm saying is it is not justifiable to say you should not eat meat.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
so it's not justifiable. Likewise, this idea that if it doesn't harm anyone, then I can do whatever I like. That doesn't seem to be a justifiable principle, because in nature we see the total opposite.
That's why I'm saying it's not 100%. It can't be done 100%, no way. But you have to try not to hurt others. You have to try.
Yeah, but when you say try,
doesn't mean you're gonna reach it. Absolutely 100%.
would you ask a lion not to eat a zebra?
Exactly. That's why
So
I'm telling you.
it's not a matter of trying, is it?
Done 100%.
But it's not. Is it a matter of trying?
You have to try.
Is it a matter of trying though? A lion.
That in this case.
So think about it. Why would you not even try to get a lion not to eat a zebra?
Because I don't want to.
It's not about lying.
This is the nature.
It's nature.
Yes.
So if we see this as a natural thing, and human beings are also animal in the natural kingdom, because if you don't believe in God, human beings are essentially animals.
Okay.
In that sense, what basis do you have to justify when you see everything behaves the same way and you come along and say, I should try not to?
Just like that, why wouldn't I try? I don't understand.
Why wouldn't a lion try?
I don't know why.
Because he will go against the nature. He will go against the nature, right?
Let's go.
I don't know.
Yeah?
Endless
That's
discussion.
the reason.
You will go against nature. So likewise, if you are an animal, believing in no God, you will be going against your nature.
Nonsense, endless discussion.
No.
If you are a harmless person,
Why do you say it's nonsense? No, it's
Yes, it's
no.
endless, you're right.
Discussions are endless.
There is no way this discussion will
and she will prove something else,
No.
and no one will
Do
get nowhere.
Do you know why I'm raising this
should
point?
Go and have a beer.
No. Do you know why I'm raising this point? As a Muslim, we have standards
I've had it
in
all.
which we live our life by. Standards.
We come
I
from
used
a
to.
system,
I had it all.
society.
Yeah.
We done
So
all
what
of
led
these
you?
things.
What led you to
Nothing
leave those
And we
standards?
realize it never brings you happiness.
I've just
Live your life.
No.
Live your life.
But
will not be happy.
But don't live it fully.
Live your life.
But don't live
Yeah,
it
but
fully.
if you think about how you live your life,
question as
no, just a few points before you go. If you think,
Tell you how to live your life.
no, if you live your life according to certain principles,
according to what?
certain
I
principles,
have my own principles.
absolutely.
I have very good principles.
Absolutely. Now, are your principles the best, or are there better principles than yours around?
What? Muslim principles?
I'm asking.
What? Sorry, what's the question?
You live your life according to certain principles. Everyone's entitled to do that.
According to human philosophy.
Human philosophy of no harm, which we were discussing.
Because philosophy is based on reason. I can prove my own morality. I can tell you why. That is good enough.
Wow, I love to see
That's
that.
as good as it gets.
That's what we're actually discussing. So it wasn't a fruitless discussion when we were talking
I don't
about.
have to follow something without questioning. No, I have to question it and prove why it's good and why I believe in X or
No,
Y.
this is a very good approach, and that's why we're saying, if you don't believe in God, what would be the standards of morality?
If I don't believe in God,
Yeah.
you know, maybe God exists. Maybe.
Do you believe in God?
Well, maybe. I don't know.
So do you get your
In what
principles
way?
of?
What is the meaning of this?
Okay, I'll explain further. Do you take your principles from a divine source?
No,
Right.
You can't take it because you don't talk to any divine source. But you can think, oh, maybe something exists. But that's, you put it on the side.
But in principle,
but
do you agree, in principle, if there is a creator and the creator gives you a moral code, if, hypothetically, right? If the creator exists, like you said, maybe, right? Maybe means there could be a creator.
By the way, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I hope there's a creator because it's a good.
But
thing.
I want to explore this point though.
Because
about morality.
It's a good thing to have a superior thing. Don't follow your own beliefs or your own.
So the superior morality would be from
the creator.
My own
intentions all the time. For example, maybe I want to punch someone. I'm not going to follow it. So it's good to think, there's a superior thing, which is morality in my view. It could be God. It's good. I'm not.
So do you agree?
I hope God exists.
No. So do you agree then, in principle, if there's a creator, the morality that comes from the creator would be the best?
I think
would be the best.
Yes.
Right. So the question.
I can't believe it philosophically. There's nothing to prove it. But in principle, yes, I think.
I don't understand your question. There's nothing to prove what? The morality or the creator?
Creator. I can't believe. Philosophically, I can't believe that a creator exists. But I think it is a better principle if he.
That's understood. So when we say you can't prove there's a creator, how did you disprove there isn't?
No, who said that is proved?
Okay. So the question now is, you're in a position where you cannot prove or disprove a creator.
No.
But the fact,
and it will never change. That's not an indecisive. It will never change.
But the reality is, either there is a creator or there isn't. Yeah. Right. So if there is a creator, there has to be ways of proving it.
Yeah. And they're not convincing.
And what would be a convincing way of proving it?
Well, nothing. I don't think there is a way.
You're actually closing all the avenues of knowledge, aren't you?
If I tell you, maybe if I hear a sound from, I could be hallucinating. So there is no proof. There will never be a proof. So what gives you that certainty there won't be any proof? How are you certain? Because you can't prove something like this. I can't prove something invisible. No, how are you certain? How do you prove this? No. This is the question we're asking. If there is a possibility. I could tell you, I will believe there's a creator if something happens, like a miracle happens. But that could be anything. That could be hallucinating. Exactly. So, in principle, there has to be a way of establishing the existence of a creator. Yeah, but if you haven't found ways of doing that, then perhaps you will decide the way. No, not me. That's what we're discussing. There has to be a way of proving. Maybe I'll tell you. Maybe if an animal talks to me, I'll believe there's God. You see, what does that mean? My friend, there has to be a way of proving it. If the creator exists, so if you don't know, because you can't talk about something that's invisible. Invincible. You can't decide what is gravity. Is gravity visible or invisible? Huh? Gravity. If you drop your bottle, would that go up or down? Oh, now you're talking about. No. Because you made a very interesting example. Invincibility. Gravity is not visible. It can be proved. Yeah, so you have to now. Gravity, I have to admit. No, you have to admit that it is not about invincibility. That's the problem, right? Invisibility, I think. You agree? It is not about visibility or invisibility. It's not. Yeah. So the creator's existence and proving the existence of the creator is not because the creator is not visible, because gravity is not visible, but you can prove it. Cool. No, gravity, I can't. You can ask questions about it. Oh, this glass. It falls because of gravity. You can ask a question, but how do you begin to ask a question about God? If there was no God, would there be anything? If there was no gravity, would that fall? No. We can ask questions. Yeah, exactly. But so I think it's a different thing. It's not a different thing. It's the same kind of inquiry. The inquiry is about cause and effect. Specific thing. Why did the glass fall? Because the effect of falling was due to a cause. How do you ask? Why are we here? That doesn't intrinsically mean there is a creator. Or it's not the same. Would you not agree? This is a very. The reason the line of questioning is this: why does that fall? Yeah. Because falling is an effect. Yes. And we are now attributing a cause to this effect, because what we see, there has to be a cause for the effects. Yes. So if, for example, you are here, there has to be a cause for your existence. Yes,
because you're an effect.
absolutely.
If the universe exists
Of course,
or
of
began
course.
to exist,
Of course
there has
it-
to be a cause
yeah.
for its existence.
Of course, yeah.
So we can ask this question.
We can ask this.
Exactly.
Why
So
did we exist? Yeah.
Yeah.
You can ask it, but there is no answer.
when we attributed this
can't
falling
decide the
and said it was
answer.
gravity, you see, look, we said this was due to gravity. So you actually put an answer forward. Rather than saying there is no answer why the bottle falls on the ground. You actually went along
Maybe
and
there,
put...
there will be an answer. I haven't heard it yet.
Nothing's convincing.
So that's why we need to know what will be convincing to us. I mean, interestingly, you did say if people
Evidence,
demand...
evidence is convincing. There is no
Exactly. But what level of evidence?
of anything. No, even scientists, they don't have. They don't have any.
To give you
They
an
say they
example,
don't know how to
to give an example, the skepticism or hyper-skepticism that we are illustrating in this particular discussion, have you had a brain scan of your own self? Right. So you haven't seen your own brain.
But
Does
I know
your brain
I
exist?
noticed that. Yeah.
What evidence do you have to suggest that your brain exists?
I don't think it's I don't.
No, no.
I don't
We
think
just
that
want
these
to
are
we just want to
you're
extrapolate
just asking-
the reasonings that we
It's
use
not the same
in
thing.
terms of the level of skepticism that we use in everyday thinking. Have you been to Africa?
Where in Africa?
Okay, maybe you have. Have you
I've
been
been
to
to Africa, yeah.
Okay. Have you been to
Egypt.
Indonesia?
Egypt is Africa.
Have you been to
I've
Indonesia?
Egypt. Or you think?
No.
You mean Nigeria?
Have you been to Indonesia? Indonesia.
No.
Right. Does Indonesia exist?
I don't think you're making sense.
Sorry?
I,
No, let's try to understand how we
trying to
built the level of confidence away from skepticism.
yeah.
No, the reason why I'm using this, look, my friend,
You can do
it is simple
You can do
to.
it better than
Can
this.
you
Listen.
Can you Google Indonesia?
I'm addressing what we call skepticism
Yeah.
and how we can be certain in affirming something. For example, when we haven't been to Indonesia, we can Google it. So we are trusting the people who put up pictures in Google or description in
know,
Google.
we know.
So you are relying in what
We're
we
human
call.
beings, of course we have to trust each
Look,
other.
I don't have a problem with that. So you are relying on what we call testimony.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah.
if we take that principle,
Testimony,
that testimony is a reliable evidence, so now I say, look, Prophet.
Yeah, that's why I think maybe Jesus exists. Yeah,
No,
Jesus
so
exists.
so not
Muhammad
maybe.
exists.
Are you saying maybe or definitely Indonesia exists?
God in Google?
Definitely. Good. So now, if we find information that's been passed to us by testimony, there are hundreds and thousands of men of God that receive revelation from God as prophets and messengers,
not
and then
the same.
they said, look, and then we relied and trusted their testimony. So if I rely on their testimony and trust the testimony,
Yeah.
and you rely on the testimony of Google,
Testimony.
why are you
Differ.
going to be
They're not the same.
inconsistent?
Testimony of Jesus is a different testimony from someone who went to
Yes,
Indonesia.
absolutely.
That is the point. Please stop being smart.
Say again. Explain that a bit more. Say Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yes, a
Now,
testimony
he
of
said,
someone
who said,
is a different testimony
No, no.
from someone
Who said,
went to
"I
Indonesia."
have been-
Please understand this and
Sorry?
stop repeating the point.
No. Look, you cannot just simply brush the argument away underneath the carpet.
That's why
the
it's
argument,
endless,
no,
classic
the
endless
argument is
discussion. I thought it's
raised.
endless.
You have to show how the argument is invalid. I've given you an example about testimony. Like, you have not an image of your own brain. The testimony that you have is other people, their brain scan demonstrates they have a brain. But you haven't done a scan of your own brain.
think it's
So
way-
you have now
way
made,
simpler
not
than-
testimony, do you agree? You have made a generalization based on assumption. That other people, no, this is how your evidence works.
If you go to, if someone tells you that Indonesia exists, you can actually go.
Have you gone there?
Yes.
Wait. Have you, no, wait there. Excuse me, have you gone there yet?
Yes.
Has he gone there? You haven't.
can
So that means,
But I can tell
you see, listen,
I've been
listen.
there. Yeah, but
If you haven't been there, that means, for example, have you had a scan of your pancreas? Pancreas.
They have that.
Right. Does your
has nothing
pancreas,
to do with it.
excuse
We can continue to discuss
No.
about other topics.
Listen.
Have you studied quantum physics?
You should
little
learn.
bit, yeah.
But it has nothing to do with it.
No, the reason I'm asking is, when we want to understand and affirm the knowledge of something, that yes, I'm certain. Are you certain you have a pancreas?
Probably. Yes.
Are you certain? No. Right. So you're skeptical that you have a pancreas. Do you have a heart? The actual heart, physical heart. Are you certain?
Pounding in my,
Are you certain it's the heart? Have you seen it?
It's a diaphragm.
No.
Exactly, you're not certain. So you're skeptical that you... Wait a moment, my friend. You're skeptical...
That's the only thing you
Please, you're skeptical that you have a heart or not, you have a pancreas or not. I mean, have you had a brain scan?
No, but everything is
Are you
logical.
skeptical?
If I can just take logical arguments, I can just build myself in this.
Do you see what you're doing now? Instead of bringing hard evidence, let's try to understand the level of evidence you're bringing. Your level of evidence is logical, as you said, logical evidence, assumptions through generalization, testimony. Okay, so are you absolutely certain that you have a brain? There you go. So you haven't got...
I'm not saying that I have one, so I'm not wrong.
Hang on. So when you're speaking to me, you really think that you haven't got a brain?
No, I just don't...
What makes you think you have a brain?
I don't say I have one, I don't say I don't have one. You're just asking me if I think...
Okay, let me ask you, do you have a brain?
I don't know.
You don't know.
What's your point?
So you might think that you don't have a brain or you have a brain, right?
I don't know. I just said I don't know. You're repeating yourself.
No. You really think you don't know, right?
Yes.
Okay, you sound an honest answer.
Yeah.
You honestly think that you don't know whether you have a brain or not?
Yes.
Really? Yes. Very interesting. So when you go, do you work or study?
I work.
Work. In your workplace, do you use your brain?
I don't know. I manage to think.
Right. So what do you use to do all this work? And,
my hands. I can
your
see
hands.
them.
Okay. And your hand operates through what? By itself?
I don't know how I use them.
You tell your employee you don't have a brain.
People say it's the brain that determines the movements.
Do you need to know if you have a brain to live?
No.
Because definitely. So you don't need to know if you have a brain to be able
but
to use it.
I'm interested in finding out if you don't know you have a brain or not. And scientists are telling us it's the brain that actually regulates our movement and so on. So you think...
believe their testimony.
Do you believe that you have a brain?
I don't care.
Do you believe?
I can create a logical construction based on what they're saying and not assume anything in the end. Just until I get a proof that it's correct or not, I can assume that it's correct or not. But if the whole logical construction is working, I can not disprove it.
So now you're bringing this question about logical credibility. If we use logical arguments, it's possible that we can accept it as an evidence. Is that what you're saying? So if someone demonstrates to you through a logical argument...
construction can be logical and validated.
Validated means you can accept it.
Doesn't mean that the basement is validated.
You're saying validated means it's acceptable.
Acceptable if the basement is validated.
What do you mean by basement?
The basement
The
of
premise.
the hypothesis.
The premises, okay.
But if you disprove the hypothesis, the whole construction falls down.
Yeah. So can you use a logical argument that you have a brain?
So far, no.
So far, no.
Die and look into my own head, skull.
So all your everyday life, because you must have studied, right, in school and university, wherever, right? And then you never once thought that I may have a brain.
I may have, but it's, as you said,
but you don't
it's
know.
only generalization.
So you don't know.
I've seen a brain in the human skull.
Sure.
I cannot prove that I have the same in my skull. I can just assume that given that it's the higher, the most likely.
Let me ask you another very silly question. Yes. Are you certain that you exist?
This is an interesting question.
That's what I said. It's silly, but it's interesting. Are you certain you exist?
No.
You're not certain?
No, maybe as Elon Musk said, we're maybe just a big simulation.
Yeah, it could be a brain in a jar, right?
What kind of way
in a museum, it could be a brain in a jar.
Do you think you sound rational when you say these things?
No, it's not rational.
I mean, how can anyone take you seriously when you say these things?
You're ready to say a brain in the jar.
No.
Okay, this is not reality, but you're not ready to admit.
I mean, do you live your life like this, in oblivious? Like you don't know anything.
Not knowing.
Do you feel good about this, like thinking like this? Is it a good way of thinking?
Does it give you peace and tranquility in your heart? What? Being that kind of hyper-skeptical, does it give you this tranquility in your heart? Who you are, what you hear, what are you doing?
because I can build myself on this logical assumption. So far, if you disprove ground hypothesis, I'm just asking for you ground hypothesis that makes you believe.
But you're not certain you exist or not. It could be just an illusion.
Yeah, are you certain that you exist? So I've been
I am
answering
certain.
all your questions.
I am
about
certain.
why.
Yeah. It's not about why. I am certain.
Okay, so you were answering question for like 10 minutes now.
Yeah.
No, it's my turn. Why are you sure you exist?
So you want to know. So you want to know from me. Hang on. You want to know from me why I'm certain.
I think you couldn't take it.
Next.
Reality was too harsh.
Who's next? Reality was too harsh.
Next.
Mansur wants more. Reality was too harsh.
The level of hyper-skepticism really, you see, in the everyday life.
That's insincerity.
Exactly.
He
In
knows-
the
he
everyday
knows
life,
very well.
they won't behave with that. Imagine he had a girlfriend or a wife. Would you really think that her girlfriend doesn't
Baby,
exist like
do
he
you
doesn't
really
exist?
Do I exist, baby?
Okay. May Allah guide us all, you know. May